Hi everybody, welcome back to You Tips for You. Today I want to talk to you about rotator cuff surgery. And I wanted to do this video because my husband recently had rotator cuff surgery. Actually, he had it on June 17th. So I wanted to share our experience with you because it can be a very high anxiety type thing for someone to go through. And there's a lot of information on the internet about it, but a lot of it was negative, and a lot of it resulted in my husband having very high anxiety about the surgery and what to expect. So I wanted to share our experience with it and give you a more of a perspective on what was a more positive experience for you. And I'm going to walk you through everything that we went through and what you can do to actually have a more positive experience, how you can prepare and what to expect. Now it's been about 7 days since he had his surgery, and we've just had our post-op visit with the doctor, and it went very well. So I'm going to take you through where we began and bring you up to where we are now, which is June 24th, right after our post-op visit. So what happened to my husband was, back in April of this year, 2015, he fell going down the stairs in our house, and it was like the middle of the night. He was going down to get a glass of water. He was thirsty, and he fell from the top of the staircase down to the bottom. And when he fell, he threw his arm back to catch his weight, and that's when he tore his rotator cuff as well as his bicep tendon. He's just in a lot of severe pain. And he waited, hopeful that it would heal on its own. He tried to do small little exercises. He tried to ice it. He tried to just give it time. But unfortunately, he couldn't do anything that required him to lift his arm higher than waist length. He could not lift it at all. He had no strength, and he had a lot of pain. So everybody he spoke to, friends, therapists, whatever, they all told him, you're going to need surgery. And that's what he was afraid of. He did not want to have surgery. When he finally couldn't take the pain anymore, about 6 weeks or so later than that, he went to get an MRI. And the MRI showed just what he had thought, that he had torn his rotator cuff and that it was very severe. It was a complete tear, a large tear, and that there was another small partial tear. And they didn't know at that point that he had torn his bicep tendon as well. Something they didn't see on the MRI, but the doctor said that they would take a look for when they would repair the shoulder. They also saw some bone spurs, which are pretty much a normal occurrence of life, and a little bit of like arthritis, which everybody gets as they get older. So now we had the diagnosis. We had the MRI. We knew what was wrong, and we were told that surgery was the only way to fix it. So my husband did lots of research on the internet to see if possible it would ever heal on its own. Everything pointed to the fact that a large tear like that would have to be repaired. Sometimes you can have a small tear apparently, and they can work with you in physical therapy, and depending on your age and how much you're willing to put into it as far as devotion to trying to fix it yourself, you can strengthen the muscles around it and help that area compensate, and so you can regain some range of motion back and perhaps reduce some of your pain. But for him, that was not an option. He had a complete tear. It had to be surgically fixed. So we had to find a doctor that we were comfortable with. And that's what I recommend to you, that you spend the time, that you talk to people, that you look around, ask physical therapists who they recommend. That was a way we took. Ask friends, ask anyone who's had the surgery in your area. Who do they recommend? And then go see that doctor. And also, you want to ask about the aftercare. What does the doctor recommend after the surgery? What is his protocol? For us, it was getting this ice machine. It was really, really, really helpful. I can't stress enough how great it is to get that ice machine. We purchased it. It was about $200. Insurance does not cover it, or at least it didn't for us. Some people, I think I've heard, get it through their insurance or rent it. It's very much worth it. If you're, I wouldn't have wanted to go through that without the ice machine. It helped him get off the pain medications. It helped relieve pain. It helped keep the swelling and the nerves calm, and it's a very helpful thing to have. So that was part of this doctor's regimen. He seemed very confident. He'd done lots of shoulder surgeries. He was the doctor for us. So once you know that, then you can be comfortable that you're in good hands, and then you can move forward. I do recommend you get a second opinion. If you are unsure, we did. We ended up going with the doctor who gave us our second opinion after getting lots of recommendations for him, and we just very much liked him and his practice, so we went with him. So then comes the period before the surgery, and this was very anxiety producing for my husband. He did a lot of reading. He went on the internet. He searched everything he could to try to find out information about this surgery. He wanted to know what to expect. He wanted to know how it was going to resolve itself and what type of pain medications they give and how long are you in pain. And he became very nervous about the pain aspect. He had read many, many things that talked about how painful it was, how inconvenient, how you can't get around. And his anxiety level before he went into the surgery was very high. His expectations were very negative about it. And that brought me to do this video for you because in actuality, that is not how it all turned out. And I want to share with you why I think he had a really good experience. And I think it was in the preparation and the things that we did to help him be comfortable. And I think that'll make a big difference for you if you're considering having this surgery. So some things that you can do to prepare yourself for this surgery were invaluable things. First of all, you're going to need a place to exist. You're going to sleep in this place, you're going to sit in this place, you're going to do everything in this place. We found a spot which was on the first level of our home, so it would mitigate stair climbing as much as possible, and it was right near a bathroom, so that was convenient. I highly recommend that you purchase a recliner. It is an invaluable investment. If you don't want to purchase one, I recommend you rent one or borrow one, but get a recliner. Here is how we set it up to give you more information and to show you how it can be very helpful to you to have a little area where you can function. And here we have the setup. We've got the recliner positioned against the wall. As you can see, the chair was not positioned completely against the wall. It was a bit away from the wall, just enough to allow his chair to recline to about a 45-degree angle. And we did that so that during the night when he was sleeping, he couldn't completely recline all the way back into a straight position like you would be in bed, because that would be very uncomfortable for him because it would put pressure on the shoulder. So we wanted to retain about a 45-degree angle, kind of like you're positioned in a hospital bed. And that would be ideal for this recovery period where lying down and getting in and out of bed would be very difficult. We just had a toy box in the room, and we set that up as a footstool. Another thing you want to have on hand are lots of small pillows. Those little couch throw pillows, because they are firm and they're small. You can wedge them under the arm, you can support the hand, and sometimes you want to just take that sling off because your shoulder gets very tired from supporting your arm, and that way you can just rest it on your pillow when you're in the sitting position and just get a little air circulating in there. It's really helpful for healing. We set up a little table next to it where we have his iPad. That's a little back scratcher there, which is very helpful because you can't reach. He has this cloth here that you see is for the ice machine, which we have right next to it, because when you remove the tube so you can get up and walk around or go to the bathroom, sometimes they drip, so you want to catch it with a little cloth. So this is the setup, and it's as comfortable as you can be for the duration of this surgery. I suggest it highly. I also open windows in the room. Obviously, that's depending on the season, to make it airy so that you can have a feeling of some outdoor and some fresh air coming in and enhance your healing process. And here he is sitting in the recliner, his feet up on a pillow. This is pretty much how he sleeps and sits. And as you can see, he can link right up to his ice machine, which I have an extension cord, goes right over there to the wall. If you don't have an iPhone, I suggest you get one that has Siri, because if you want to be talking on your phone or texting, it's great if you can just press your button and tell Siri or text through Siri, because it's going to be hard for you to type or use anything that requires two hands. This way you can operate, kind of stay in touch with people. You're going to be spending a lot of time in your sling. My husband's was 6 weeks he has to spend in his sling. Yes, because he has a very large tear. He has to spend a lot of time recovering first before he can start physical therapy. I mentioned the ice machine. It's very, very important. You want to make sure you get that before the surgery. Have that ready. Bring it with you to the surgery. They will hook it up for you. They will show you how it works. They will show your caretaker, who's going to be taking care of you, how it works. That leads me to my next point. You want to have someone that's going to take care of you. You're going to need care for at least 3 days. After that, you're going to start to figure out how to do things yourself. Your body starts to compensate. Your brain starts to figure out ways that you can get around and how you can do things with one hand. And before you know it, you've adjusted now to your situation. That's what happens. You adjust to your situation. Before that, you really need someone to change the ice, get the ice. You're going to be groggy from your pain medications. You're going to be in pain, and I'll talk about that in a bit. You're going to have no mobility right away because you're on a nerve block, and you're still tired from your anesthetic. And having someone there to take care of you, bring you food, help you get up and off your chair, go to the bathroom, things like that, your first shower, you're going to need a caretaker. I do recommend you get the nerve block. Our doctor does it. That's a standard way they do it. They block the nerve going down the arm, so your whole arm, whichever one it is completely numb. You don't feel anything. And they also give you a anesthesia, so you're completely out as well. The nerve block lasts, they said, about 18 to 20 hours. At least it did for him. You'll also want to make sure you have some easy foods on hand for the first 2 or 3 days, because you're going to have a little bit of nausea and a little bit of a queasy stomach after you have the surgery, which is caused by the nerve block and the anesthesia. And if you're going to be taking your pain medications, that can also upset your stomach and also can cause constipation. So you'll also want to make sure you lots of healthy foods with fiber, fruits, vegetables. Keep it easy, eggs, things you can digest readily. Don't let yourself get hungry. Lots of small meals was the key to him feeling better. As soon as he kind of went a little too long without eating, he felt nauseous, he didn't feel well. So keep the foods regular. Every 2 hours, eat something, drink something, have some soup. Just broth with egg noodles is great. Things like that, crackers. Don't take your pain medications on an empty stomach. Always have some food before them. You want to drink lots of fluids as well. The faster you can wash that anesthesia that was in your body out of your body, the quicker you're going to feel better. As far as medications go, my husband was prescribed Dilaudid. That was the first medication that they gave him. That's the strongest one. He was to take that every 4 hours or so for the first 48 hours. After that, they gave him oxycodone and told him he can take that every 4 to 6 hours as needed. So at that point, you're at the as needed. They gave him Tylenol, 2 extra strength Tylenol. That was to be taken every 8 hours the entire time for like 5 to 7 days. That was the prescription. They also recommended stool softeners, and I think you'll want to think about that as well, and laxatives, because with the pain medications, they do cause constipation. Your whole body slows down from them. While you're also, helping your pain, you're slowing your whole body down, which slows down, the ability to go to the bathroom. So having stool softeners and laxatives are very important, and I think they recommended it 3 times a day. And the last thing I want to recommend to you before I talk about the surgery is to think ahead to have some clothing that you can wear, because you're not going to be able to put something on over your head and put your arms through something and bring it down. So you've got to think creatively. So what I came up with was he's most comfortable in those white cotton t-shirts that men wear underneath a shirt. And even if it's winter, you can still put that on close to your body, and if it's winter, I'll show you what to do, but you can cut a sweatshirt. We cut a cotton t-shirt to make it easier to put on and comfortable for him to wear. And here's what we did. So here we have just a plain white cotton, 100% cotton t-shirt. It's just Hanes, you can get Fruit of the Loom, whatever. It doesn't have to be brand new, but if you need to buy them, I would suggest you buy them. This is a V-neck, which gives you more space to get in, so it's easier. And what you're going to do is, whichever shoulder it is that you have the problem with, you will cut that sleeve, and I'll show you how to do it. So all you're going to need is a scissor, and you simply find the seam under the armpit, and you cut right along the seam in a straight line, straight down the armpit, and then you're going to continue down the shirt to about here, because you want the shirt to still stay on. So you'll cut to about here, gives you ample room to get it up high enough under your arm so that you can get it over your head, and then the other arm in, and then pull it down. So we'll just continue to cut down here. And that's about as far as you need to go. And now you have a nice open arm. It's cool, so the arm gets some air. It's going to be in a sling for a while. The arm that you've had surgery with goes on first. Then you put your head and other arm through, and you just simply pull it down. These are very, very comfortable. Now, because it's summer weather here, he stays in that white t-shirt, and we've cut several of those white t-shirts. So every time he showers or changes, or he's sweating or whatever, we put on a new t-shirt. It's a very small investment that you make. They come in 3-packs. You can buy them at Walmart or wherever. I suggest you get 100% cotton, because it's the most comfortable, and you're going to be in it and sitting, and you can cut a bunch of those. And if it's wintertime where you are, buy some of those sweatshirts at Walmart or wherever they are. They're inexpensive, and you can cut your sweatshirts the same exact way. You just cut the sleeve off, you cut down the side, you put them on to the arm first, then over the head, and down you go. And now you're going to be nice and cozy and warm, but your arm will still be free and exposed with your sling on it. The short sleeves will allow you to have a free arm, so that you have the ability to have the sling on. It's a button-down shirt, which will allow you to put it on very easily. You definitely want to take something like this to the hospital. On the day of the surgery, my husband was to be at the outpatient surgical facility at 8 a.m. He'd already had blood work done a week before that, which was required, so he didn't have any blood work done that day. As soon as he came in, they took his vitals and they gave him Tylenol. That was the first medication. And then he waited for the anesthesiologist. The anesthesiologist came. He administered the nerve block. The nerve block went in first. They placed it into his neck, and they used an ultrasound machine to guide them to put it just before the nerve, and they know exactly where to go and what to do. So don't fear it. They're very experienced, and they know just what they're doing. And you can talk to your anesthesiologist and ask him how long he thinks your nerve block will last, and he can have an idea for you, because every person's different, how long yours will last. And during that time that you have your nerve block, you will not feel anything. There'll be no pain. You won't even feel you can't, when you touch your arm or your fingers, you won't even feel them at all. So after that, he went into the operating room, where they administered the general anesthetic, and 2 hours later, he emerged from surgery. It was a successful surgery. It was a very large tear, so they had 4 anchors to attach the tendon back on, the rotator cuff back on. He also had his bicep tendon repaired because that was also torn in the fall. So he was in recovery for 2 hours. About an hour after he came out of the surgery, I was able to see him. He was awake by that time. He was groggy. He knew who I was. He was able to talk. We talked very slowly. Didn't feel any pain at all. It's very comfortable, very comfortable. And the nurses did everything to make sure that he was comfortable physically, but he had no pain. They had him eat something. They gave him a muffin. So they wait till he was eating and drinking, and he felt quite alert by the time we left. So it was about 2 hours later. He was quite alert by that time. He was ready to leave. They made sure his sling was on properly. The arm was positioned properly. They had already put these compression stockings on him. Before he went into surgery, he had them put on, and he stayed in them for 48 hours. And that's in order to prevent blood clots. So you're in the compression stockings. He also was attached to his ice machine while he was lying in the recovery room for the 2 hours. So that was already, cooling him while he was there. We detached it to leave. Got in the car, we went home. As soon as we got home, we transitioned to his recliner and set him up with the ice machine and got him comfortable. He put his feet up and he took a nap. And when he woke up, we started having a little something to eat. Now, I recommend, because there are a lot of medications to keep track of, you keep a log. So you have a pad of paper, you write down each day's date, you write down what time you took the Tylenol, what time you took the Dilaudid. If these are prescription medicines for you, you may have something different, what time you took the oxycodone, etc., so nobody gets confused. Because if you just take it and then, I'll write it down later, you forget what time, people doing other things, you get distracted, there's other things to take. Even write down when you took the stool softener. Just write down everything. It's great if anybody else, like I have my children here, if I was sleeping, my daughter was here, she could help. She knew when he took Tylenol, she knew when he took something. It's very, very helpful. So my husband got the nerve block administered about 8:30 a.m., so maybe a half an hour after he arrived. And his nerve block lasted approximately 18 hours. So he was pain-free with his shoulder and the surgery and the arm and everything until about 2:30 in the morning. And what they tell you is you don't want to wait for that to wear off. So if it hasn't worn off by the time you go to sleep, which for him was around midnight or 11 o'clock at night, that's when they tell you to go ahead and take your first pain medication. So he took his first Dilaudid, which was a 4 milligram dose at that time, which was the highest dose that they'd given him. He took that around midnight and he went to bed. So somewhere around 2:30 in the morning, he felt the pain begin. And he said that that's when the nerve block wore off. But of course, he did not have excruciating pain because he had taken the Dilaudid. He was also attached to that ice machine. He had that ice machine on that shoulder, circulating ice cold water through it continually for 48 hours. That was my job. I kept that ice machine with fresh ice for 48 hours. It's really important. He continued to take Dilaudid for 24 hours. Every 4 hours, he took it. Sometimes he spaced it, just wanted to test it a little. He spaced it 5 hours just to see would the pain get worse or not. It did not. Again, he was on that ice machine, which I think is really, really important for keeping the nerves calm, the swelling down. It was very, very helpful, and I think it helped him get off the pain medications. The good news is he got off his pain medications literally 24 hours after he took his first pill. So he stopped all medications. He stopped the Tylenol, he stopped the oxymorphone, and he never even took the oxycodone. So to describe for you better how he felt about the pain, I'll give you this little number graph that'll help you. Because the key period to consider is the first 48 hours. So when he came home from the hospital, I asked him on a scale from 1 to 10, how is your pain? 1 being no pain at all, 10 being excruciating pain. He said he was a 1. He had no pain at all. On day 2, when we were under the influence of the Dilaudid and the Tylenol, his pain level was about a 3 or a 4 out of 10. So he went from a 1, feeling nothing, to with the hydromorphone, also known as Dilaudid, he was on that, and that was about a pain level 3 to 4. After he stopped taking the Dilaudid, which was 24 hours after he began, he said his pain level was ranging from about a 4, most of the times it was about a 4, to about, would spike to about a 6. And he doesn't know what caused it to kind of spike to about a 6. He didn't know, was he hungry? Did he get tired? Maybe he needed a nap. Whatever it was, sometimes he was off the ice. He came into the kitchen to eat something. Then he would feel it would start to flare up, get more towards a 6. Then we would sit him back down in his recliner, put the ice on him, and calm him back down to about a 4. So he stayed in that range, 4 to 6. He always knew if the pain flared. He thought, if the pain gets to about a 7 or an 8, I'm not going to wait till it's a 10. I'm going to just take it. He wasn't trying to be a hero. He was trying to just wean himself off of it, because when you're on those pain medications, you're very groggy. He was nauseous, got a little dizzy. Again, with the constipation, he felt that, lethargic. So he wanted to get off of them as soon as possible and start feeling normal again, and not so still under the effects of the anesthetic. That's how he felt. So he wanted to get off of them as soon as he could. Now, day 4, he had his surgery on a Wednesday. So day 4 for us was Saturday. He'd been off the pain medications now since Friday at 12 a.m. And now it was Saturday, and it was morning, and we were assessing the pain, and the pain was about a 3 to 4. So now we were reducing. And that was his second day of no medications. No more spikes. We just had pain kind of like, if it was going to be painful, it was a 3 to 4. And he was taking little walks by then, up and down the driveway or around the living room towards the kitchen, that kind of thing. He was trying to get mobility back, and moving around is really good for you after you've had a surgery. Even his first day when he had the nerve block, he still wanted to walk around a little, stretch his legs, stand up. He did it the second day as well. He went for a little bit longer. I know we took 1 trip down the driveway and back, and then on the 4th day after surgery, which was Saturday, we did a longer walk, and he, the whole time he was doing the arm flexing that he was supposed to, where he was bending at the elbow, squeezing his little rubber ball. He had to do like shoulder, they call pendulums, where he had to rotate the shoulder from here just to keep everything lubricated. They didn't want you to stiffen up. So he did those. He started those right after the nerve block wore off. They didn't want you to do anything as far as movement or exercises until after the nerve block wore off, and then he could do the pendulums and flexing up and down. There was none of this out here, no lifting out here, all just to keep the elbow joint lubricated. He had to bend and flex at the elbow, and he would come out of the sling for that, just drop the arm, let it hang down. That's how he took a shower as well. He was allowed to take his first shower 48 hours after surgery. So no shower for the first 48 hours. So if you want to go clean and showered to your surgery, I recommend that, because you won't be, taking a full shower until 48 hours after. And at that point, he was told he can just let the water run down over the steri strips, which were covering his shoulder wound, and, but not to touch it or soap it or anything like that. Just let it, just the water go over it. We did not let the water go under the armpit where the other surgery was. They didn't want, that one had a bandage over it, and it was not supposed to come off for 7 days. So we didn't want water to get under there, because it's hard to get water out from under your armpit. Didn't want him to get a rash. So we just, he stood up with his arm hanging. He washed with one hand. You're going to need someone to help you to wash your feet and your legs. But he managed his face and his hair and things like that. Felt great after his first shower. You start to feel back to normal again. Now he was off the ice machine. It was 48 hours, so he was off the ice machine. He only needed to do the ice machine for twice a day, maybe for 30 minutes, just kind of that way. So every day he could take a shower, and that wasn't a problem. He could walk a little bit more. He was eating regularly, drinking lots and lots of fluids. Day 5, which was Sunday, his pain level was a 2 or a 3. So now we went down from a 3 or a 4 on Saturday to a 2 or a 3. Now Monday, day 6, he had no pain at all. Pain level was a 1, no pain at all. So 6 days after surgery, he was completely pain-free, and able to. You still have to take it easy. Your body went through a surgery. Don't think you're just going to run off and do too much. But by that time, he was answering his emails and, of course, using, like I told you, the voice-activated Siri. He was using that. He was eating regularly. He was joking. He was joking probably by, I would say, day 4. I could tell his personality was back. His pain level was a 3 or 4. It was manageable for him, and he started to be back to his old personality. But like I said, by day 6, he was pain-free. So now you know what to expect. For him, it was the first 24 hours. He managed his pain at a 3-4 level with the Dilaudid. After that, it was his choice, but he didn't want to take the medication anymore. You can experiment with that, see how long you can go as well. If you need it, take it. If you don't, then don't. Don't be afraid. Pain was his biggest fear. He was so worried that it was going to kick in and just be insurmountable. But it never got to be that way. It was managed. He listened to his body. The first 48 hours being key with the ice really helped. And here we are. It's 7 days post-surgery. We had our first post-op visit to the doctor. He was very pleased with the wound healing. They changed the steri strips and sent him home. And he starts physical therapy 2 weeks from today. They want to let it heal a little bit longer for him because he had such a large tear. So he'll have to wait 2 more weeks before he can start physical therapy. And then physical therapy is going to be 3 months for him. So again, you'll always be as good as the effort you put into something. So while, the doctor can do his magic and repair things, now it's going to be up to him to work with the physical therapist, do his exercises, and regain his range of motion. So he's going to have to keep working with it until someday, hopefully, he can go all the way back up here again. So I'm going to do another video. 4 weeks from now, we have another appointment with the doctor. We'll have had 2 weeks of physical therapy by then. I'm going to update you guys and let you know how things are going. And then I think I'll do another video after, say, closer to that 3-month period. So you'll see me again on this topic 4 weeks from now, and hopefully I'll have some good things to report, some things you should know. And I wish you all the luck if you are undertaking this in your life and getting it repaired. And I hope this video will help you get more comfortable with the whole process and know that it's not as painful and upsetting and insurmountable as you might have read, that there are more positive stories. My husband's being a more positive story and a more positive experience. And he went into it with all the fear and anxiety, and he was all worked up. And then suddenly he realized, wow, you know what? This is manageable. And your body is an amazing thing because you start to compensate and you start to be able to adjust and do things with one hand. And I mean, it's amazing what he can do now. It's always a challenge when you first do it. Getting into the car the first time, he of course needs a lot of help, but then he figures out how he can use his feet, now he uses his hand, how he can close the door, and all of that. And you will learn to compensate and to get by, and you'll be able to do things. And you won't be able to, obviously, lift your arm. It's going to be in a sling, and it's got to stay there. But the rest of you is going to work around it while you heal, and then you'll be doing your physical therapy. So if you have any questions or comments, please, feel free to write. I'll answer everything that I can, and I'll ask him, and we'll get you all the information that we can give you. And if you're new to my channel and this video brought you here, please subscribe, because I have a lot of great videos I do on motivation and improvement in beauty and health and things like that. So welcome to my channel. And I also have a blog spot, so please visit me there where I do writing. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter where we can stay connected as well. So thanks so much for viewing. Bye-bye now.